Yo, geometry. We're going to do a lesson on chapter 4, section 2, congruent triangles. First thing they do in the book is they tell you that what congruent means, okay? So if you have a congruent polygon, it could be anything. I'll just do a triangle. And then you have another one down here. The way that you can tell those two triangles are congruent is that every single part matches up. This side might match up to this side. This side might match up to this side. And this side matches up to this side. This angle matches up to this angle. This angle to this angle. I might have done the wrong one here, but... And then this angle matches up to this angle. If all the parts match up, then it's congruent. And the book uses a phrase that you haven't heard yet, I don't think. It says two polygons are congruent if and only if the parts are congruent, matching parts are congruent. And when they say if and only if, they mean that you can do that both ways. Here, let me show you, just before I talk about that, let me show you one other way that you can talk about something as congruent. Two figures are congruent I don't know if those really are, but you get the idea. Two figures are congruent if I can twist them around and move them and place them right on top of each other and they match up. I can see now that this needs to be more like that. But if I could turn those and put them right on top of each other and they match up with each other, then that means they're congruent also. So you would say two polygons are congruent if and only if they can be placed on top of each other and they match up. So what that means is they're congruent if you can match them up, but you could also say if you can match two things up, then they're congruent. So you can read it both ways. That's what if and only if means. Then they give you, let's see, what do they give you now? Theorem 4.3, okay? And this is on page, it's at the top of page 293. Theorem 4.3 is the third angles theorem. And it says if you have two triangles, and this angle matches up with that angle matches up with that angle, then you know that this third angle matches up with this angle. And do you see why you know that? If these all three add up to 180 degrees, and two of them are the same, since they add up to the same amount, since you know that, then that third amount has to be the same also. Now, this does not say that the two angles have to be, or the two triangles have to be congruent. Do you see that you could have a much bigger triangle and have these same angles match up, but the sides are no longer congruent? But the third angle theorem is just simply about the measure of the angles. If two angles equal two angles of another triangle, then you know that third angle has to equal itself also. Okay? All right. I think that is chapter or section, is it 2? Section 2 of chapter 4. All right.